guys, it's me, Klarissica, here on Klarissicasays, where Klarissica says it all, and that is how I feel. So you guys see I'm in my cover, and we have my friend Lucy here. So
Oh,
yes, I like your background.
thank you.
So we're going to basically just have a girl talk, chat kind of a video, very quick, which is why I'm all comfortable, comfy, right? So today's major topic is going to be about sex, y'all. Sex. I know all y'all been having sex during quarantine. So don't act like y'all don't know what that is and what's going on. So we're gonna just have a quick girl talk chat kind of situation. I have a couple of things that we can go off of and discuss, but no specific topics. And maybe from me posting this video, you guys can give us some topics to discuss for the next time we come on and do a video together. But yeah, so I'm doing this on my laptop, so hopefully it's clear enough, but it's recording. So, okay, so let's just talk. What, I guess, when was the first age you ever thought about sex? Like knowing what sex was?
Okay, so I don't know if your people know that we're reading a book together.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't say that, but you could tell them.
Okay, so we're reading a book right now, The Power of the Pussy by Carla King.
Yeah,
And in reading that book, it's made me think a lot about like my childhood and like sexuality and where a lot of my thought, because I'm studying to be a sex therapist as my specialty. So
yeah,
and as I think about it, I realize that I've always had some type of curiosity into like sex or reproductive system, but I didn't consciously know that's what I was interested in. Like, a lot of little kids, they like, oh, I want to go up, I want to be a pediatrician or a doctor. I specifically want to be an OBGYN and loved literally just the parts of my mom's like books because she was in school to be a medical assistant. I just love the parts about the human reproductive system. Like those are the main parts of the human body that I
yeah,
wanted to. And this is like third, fourth grade that I'm remembering this. Maybe
yeah.
even within that.
Really? I don't know. I can't even tell y'all when, as a child, I knew about sex. My mom and dad, my mom and dad were together. Like they were active. My mom and dad broke up when I was like not broke up. They got divorced when I was 8. So I knew about sex young. And also I had like older brothers and sisters. I'm the second set of kids, so they're older. They're in their 40s and mid 40s. So like they were teenagers. 15, 14, 12 teenagers. So, it wasn't something that was like hidden, but it wasn't something that was discussed. So, honestly, like you said, we're reading that book, The Power of the Pussy, right? And
Yeah.
in that book, she refers back to her childhood and basically the curiosity that she went through during childhood, but felt like she had to kind of, I'm not say be submissive to what's going on, but basically her thoughts were one way, and then she basically how she was taught and how she was able to like express herself. She wasn't able to get that chance as a child, but she knew she wanted to do it. She knew she wanted to talk about it. She knew she had these feelings. She knew she had these, thoughts, but she didn't want to put herself out there at that young age. And I do feel
Mhm.
like a lot of kids nowadays do also think about sex a lot and more than they should. And they always say you think about sex more than you should, but then it's kind of like the world that we live in, how can you run away from it? Like,
Yeah. Like, well, okay, so the first time I actually knew the word sex was I was in the library and they were like, oh, they're having sex in the back of the library. But I didn't want because I wasn't really interested in it.
no,
Yeah, I was probably, again, this is before middle school because I was in
no.
my.
Oh my gosh. No, I would have died. I would have been like, what?
Well, I was just like, I'm trying to check out this book on these dinosaurs, and like, all the kids on it over there, and then the lady, she's just looking at me. I'm like, where are the dinosaur books?
Right.
I'm
That's
here.
my realm. Oh my
But it's
God.
like with what she was saying, it's so interesting because a lot of sex therapists that I do follow, they do say that once your child asks you a question or if they look something up, at that point, they're curious. Ain't no you're too young or nothing like that, because you don't, like, everyone's different. Like, I didn't even recognize how into sexuality I was until now as an adult, looking back at my childhood, how a lot of my focus tended to go towards those type of productivities.
Mm-hmm.
The tended to like to read would be more romance and reading about those, even though I wasn't really connecting the dots.
Right.
Like, to write some poetry in high school that was sexual, even though I was inexperienced. But I wrote a poem, and then recently I showed it to my mom, and she was like, "Are you sure you was a virgin? Like you?"
When you wrote this, are you sure?
And I'm
But
like,
see, you had that mental, you ever heard that your mind can be the best journey? So you
mm,
didn't know anything about it, but you had that mental dream. You were playing that
it's
movie in your
that's what,
mind.
yeah, it's just what intrigued me. Like, it
Yeah.
really intrigued me a lot. And I feel like a lot of kids, it's like, I saw this one question, it was on Facebook. They were like, what would you do if your 13-year-old daughter came up to you and was like, hey, I'm starting to get these urges, but I don't really want to act upon them with a partner. Could we discuss me getting could we get me a vibrator toy? And it's like, how would you answer that? And so many people confused. I'm like, listen, that is so healthy, because again, people used to get married back at like 13, some,
13, 14,
while it's
15.
not
Yeah.
normal in society now, it used to be normal, and we become sexually mature, even
At
though
that
mentally,
age.
but sexually, our bodies are coming to there, and our body has urges, and it's
Hmm.
safe to be open and talk to your kids about them, because it's not no, oh, you too young for this shoe,
Yeah.
especially with these foods, these kids developing real fast, so
Yeah.
it everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I think we got on the topic with the kids, but just to because of the book, but just to put it out, just put it out there, I do feel like when a parent kind of sweeps the conversation, because everybody has like the version of each conversation or whatever their version of the version of each conversation is. But once your kids gets to a certain age and they have like that somewhat of an understanding and they come to you or they feel like they can't come to you to address that directly, I feel like that can hinder them with like being more open to you or preventing them from doing things like, having sex early and then getting pregnant because they were just trying to understand, I just want to feel, I just want to understand, compared to somebody that actually talks to their kids, give them understanding, they understand what it is. They're not going to be like, okay, so hype, hype, hype. Here's what I'm trying to say. Like, if the message was actually, if the message is more open, like how you're saying, if a kid walked up and said, okay, I was thinking about getting a vibrator, and mom was like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you okay? That automatically make that person maybe feel kind of like, oh, yeah, there you go, ashamed. But if the parent or whoever it is addresses it in a more, if even if they don't prefer their kid to do that, it's just a way about going about it. I don't feel like they should automatically turn it down because now that curiosity is still going to be there. But now, if the kid really, or the person, or male, whatever it is still curious about it, they're going to still go and find that toy, for instance. Or if they can't get that, they're going to go look for other kind of ways to pleasure themselves, which can lead to longer, issues in the long run. You never know who, you know, they always say if you go looking for something, you're gonna find it. Well, sometimes when you look for something, it may not be exactly what you want. And if your parent would have had that conversation with them or not made that person feel ashamed or whatever, it may not have gotten to that point. I'm not saying it always gotta be negative, but you know,
Honestly, depending on the conversation, that's why a lot of males and females have a lot of shame when it comes to like their sex or their sexuality or their
yeah,
body. For women, we're taught, yo, what, cover yourself, da, 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 da. And it's just like you're taught even subliminally, like unconsciously, like they're not telling you to have shame, but by acting certain ways or being so surprised, like, oh my gosh, it's like teaching us these things that we have to shame, like some type of shame. I have to cover
yeah,
up, supposed
yeah,
to talk about these things. But on the other aspect, males have a type of shame because they of the whole hyper male sexuality thing. They try to teach males, oh yeah, you're supposed to be getting some, or you're supposed to be interested in
yeah,
sex.
that too,
Feel shame if they don't want to have sex or they're not
that
interested
too.
at a younger age. So it hurts on both sides.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. That's a good topic. That's a good discussion. The the stigma of young men being sexually active and being pushed through the society and those around them to be sexually active. Basically, it's like if you're 16 and you have not tried anything, whatever, you're weird. If you're
Yeah.
18, if you get to the age of 20, for instance, and you never had sex with nobody, you're weird. Like,
Like the movie
no,
30-Year-Old Virgin. It's a whole movie.
right, stuff like that. But this is the thing that gets me though. It's kind of like hypocritical because then you will have people that say, oh, well, I want a female that's, is 20, 30, however old, is not a virgin. No, that is a virgin. But then you as a male, you're pushing a total opposite.
But and it also helps with rape culture because now y'all pushing these boys to have sex, but you're telling the girls not to have sex. Who the boys want to try to have sex with? Obviously, we have to try to not. I'm not. When I say like rape culture, I'm not only talking about forcible rape and stuff because obviously
Yeah,
men, they like those are people they're not controlling themselves. They can't control themselves. I ain't got no problems with that. But
right.
now it's coercion. Like, oh, if you love me, you'll have sex with me because they need to have sex and they're
Right.
to have sex unless they're in love. So we're going to coerce each other or try to do all this manipulative things, which leads to F boys and F girls and all this other negative.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one sex therapist, Lindsay Doe, she did a study. Well, she has a video. It's not a study. She has a video about one of the most openly sexual cultures in the world. I
Hmm.
forgot it. And there they have actual less incidents of rape and stuff like that because
Mm-hmm.
sexuality and stuff is something that's really open. Like women are taught learn like to pleasure themselves, and men are taught to pleasure women and pleasure. How everyone's taught how to please themselves from when
Mm-hmm.
they're sexually mature, and they're taught get to know people. They have sex, this and that. As long as you're protected, and there's no shame around it.
Right.
And they will seem very content. Right now, the culture is changing because technology and outsiders coming in and changing everything.
Of course, right. But the fact that she was able to experience that, I would love to go and like basically get a breakdown of how every single different culture, especially these like more private cultures, do have their own versions of sex appeal, sex, their idealisms on sex and partnership. Because I feel like personally, I feel like sex and partnership should go hand in hand. If you're going to decide to have fun, but let that be the understanding with whoever you're going to be with. That's what you're going to do. But when it comes down to, as you're getting older, as people get older, you need to know, okay, this is going to be a partnership and we're doing this together. And we're not just, like you said, being F buddies and F partners and friends with benefits. No, we're
But
working
we're going to
towards
another
something.
conversation now.
We're
Now we're going
working
to
on
another
something.
conversation. That goes into the whole the whole idea of relationships. Because I also, again, I'm a therapist, so I'm studying to be a couples therapist. So my whole specialization was
Mhm,
child developmental, couples therapy, and sexology. That's like my
mhm.
specialty. And I'm like, it's so simple if people would just be like, communicate and just
Yeah.
say, yeah, this is what I want. Like, there's people who want polyamory, and you'll find someone who wants open relationships. Like, for example, I always said, like, I would prefer monogamy, but I am open to the
Open.
of certain types of open relationships.
Mhm.
For example, I was like, if I was to date someone whose job requires them to travel, who knows? Maybe if we have a conversation about it, they'd be like, okay, I can have one person here and they can have one person when they travel or something like that. But again, that would take a lot of communication and a lot of trust. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just people go about it the wrong
Wrong
way.
way. Hmm.
Again, with the rape culture and the whole coercion to get what they want,
Hmm.
it all goes back to that. We have to try to manipulate people to get what we want for some
Right.
reason. Just being honest and
I
being
don't
okay.
think, I think there's a disconnect with communication and sex.
Mhm.
Communication from the very beginning on how it's taught, communication from the very beginning on how it's understood, communication from the very beginning on how you understand your body and yourself and how to please yourself, how to please others. Communication on the sense of understanding your partner. Especially in a lot of situations that come down to sex. Like you just say, if you communicate with your partner, if your partner communicates with you, then that would save a lot of issues if you guys were in a polygamous relationship. But
Yes.
A lot of times people don't have that communication. And we're not taught to communicate. Like some people, honestly, when say for instance, you have somebody for a very long time and you met them kind of young or whatever, y'all just start, doing a do, right? Okay, y'all start doing a do. As you guys get older, you're maturing, you're mentally maturing, you're physically maturing, you're emotionally maturing. So the things that you did then at that time or whatever, the beginning relationship will not be the same further along in the relationship. So
Yeah.
now that's when we disconnect. Maybe some things they do that you don't like, but you did like at that point in time, but you're never taught to actually express yourself. And if you did, you kind of felt like you said, shame or discomfort, like felt discomfort like speaking about it because it's just a topic that you're just not taught to discuss. All I'm saying is it could be hard to try to tell your partner, hey, I don't like you doing like that. Can you do like this? Can you not do that? Like, you
This
know?
sex, I'm in a sex educator's course right now, taught by Nadine Thompson. She's awesome sex educator,
Mhm.
and she has one video that talks about like when your child asks you if I'm ready for sex, and it's like a whole bunch of questions. It's like because there's no set day, time, milestone.
Yeah,
It's just questions. I'm like, those questions work for at any point. Like, are you able to ask? Like, are you able to ask for what you need? Because if you aren't able to ask for what you need, then maybe you need to reconsider if you're ready for sex. Or
right,
are you okay with asking to stop when you need to stop? Or are you okay with your partner saying they need to stop? Are you okay with a whole, like, it's a whole list of questions. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie. If someone had told me that instead of saying, oh, wait till you're married, or oh, wait till they asked me those specific questions,
right,
how are you with your communication with your partner? How are you with your communication with yourself, with your body, and also the reasonings why you want to do it? You make sure
exactly,
it doesn't work out with your partner. Would you be okay emotionally able to handle us if y'all don't work out? And you had like a whole bunch of questions like that. And I'm like, even as an adult, those are important questions to ask before I, get into sex with anyone. And, you know, am I able to communicate with this person? Like if I meet a boy, he fine AF, but he's too fine for me to feel like I could talk to him about it. I don't
right.
even myself.
Facts. I like that. A sex checklist. That's what I want you to make us a sex checklist. Check this box. You ready? Are you sure? Do you like this? Are you sure? Can you be there for like check off the check box for real? And I do feel like if we have something like that in place for real, I feel like men may need it more so than women. 'Cause I feel like see the thing about men, not all, but think about I say 70% of the men out there is that they don't see women are more of thinkers. We're more of emotional thinkers, more so, not all, but more so we are more of an emotional thinker, cognitive thinkers, and men are more physical emotional. They're emotional through their physicalities. We are emotional through our feelings, if that makes sense. So they're thinking about their pleasure, physical pleasure, and we're trying to feel like the mental stimulation, if that makes sense. So when you go back to about the emotional question, like, will you be able to be emotionally, sound if this doesn't work out? Can you take if a girl says no? You know what I'm trying to say? If even though you're about to do whatever you're about to do, can you control yourself enough to back off? Stuff
Yeah.
like that, you know, without getting
Because
upset or without having resentment. Just stuff like that I feel like makes a difference. Plus, I do feel like women have more like I feel like growing up as a female, sex was talked about, I feel like a lot more to females, I feel like, than it is males. And I feel like it needs to change. I do feel like the attention should be fair, if not more on a male, because at the end of the day, yes, you are a woman. Yes, you are have, they always say, well, did you open your legs, keep your legs closed until you're married, stuff like that.
like we're not supposed to enjoy sex. That's why there's such a huge orgasm gap because women aren't supposed to enjoy sex. We're
Yeah.
not want to
But
have
then
sex.
to the men, they don't say that kind of stuff. They just tell the men, just keep, make sure you wear protection or do what you do, but just make sure you be careful. But they still kind of
That's
promote it.
like that's why there's a whole thing where they're trying to get rid of the term virgin or losing your virginity because that gives the shame. Like you're not losing anything by
Anything.
sex. So they're now saying it's your sexual debut. Now you are saying I'm waiting to be a sexual being, but you ain't losing nothing, and the boys ain't gaining nothing.
You
Please.
know, fun fact, um, the actual real term, the real original terminology of like losing virginity, which actually was actually giving birth. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you probably heard of that, but yeah, giving birth, like your first time having a child, was actually the original terminology of losing your virginity, because now you're bringing something to the world, and through your womb and all that stuff, not physically having sex. Because truth be told, at one point in time, it's disgusting to say this out loud, but at one point in time, in some cultures back in the day and all that stuff, the fathers used to, do with the females first before they went off to find a husband. Just for whatever reason, at that point in time in culture. And a lot of cultures are different, you know what I'm saying? But at one point in time, like back when, BC and all that stuff. I used to look into this kind of stuff. Again, it fascinates me to know the differences between cultures. So
Mhm.
I used to be into that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you dated back, virginity was never about the coming out of you getting penetrated. It was about you bringing life into the world. Um, and that's what they try to make the concept. Oh, you lost your virginity. Oh, you're a woman now. No, you had a baby. You a woman now. And you got to also remember that back at some point in time, like you said, they were around 13, 12, 14, 15 having kids for the first time. So, it kind of makes sense around the same time we're discussing, when normally that's around times that females get, lose between the time, honestly, between the ages of 10, even though us young, between the ages of 10 and
And
18.
they can start having they can start going through puberty.
Right, depending on your body. I had girls in middle school, in my sixth grade, middle school,
I
pregnant.
have family members 9 years old. They started 9, 8 years old.
I mean, but pregnant, sis, like, no
Yeah.
lies, pregnant. So
Yeah.
when the arteries work, when them ovaries work, they work. Now, mind you, that's another thing. Those the girls that were pregnant. Only one girl that was pregnant. About three girls were pregnant in my middle school. Like over the 3 years of high school, about not high school, over the 3 years of me being in middle school, about three girls got pregnant. The first one was with an older guy, like older guy. Like when I say older, okay, fine. She's in middle school. The guy's in high school, like about like a junior. The hell?
One, kids under the age of 18 can't consent. There's no such thing as child prostitutes. There's no such thing as child rape. No, it's rape. It's never okay. It's never consensual.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they consented and they had a baby, and they've been off and on since then. But it's like, the point is that it doesn't really matter your age. Once you tell yourself that this is what you're gonna do, and that curiosity is there, and it's like sometimes parents don't pay attention. I feel like if somebody was to sit her girl down and say, hey, I see you getting curious over there, let's talk about this. Let's discuss this. Let's,
It's the thing is, I don't think there's a lot of safe places. Like I was talking to someone else, and I was telling them something that I researched is have doing a safe place with your kid. So you
mm-hmm,
literally, as soon as they're like talking and stuff, you tell them, listen, this area, this corner, whatever, however you want to do it, when we're inside your bedroom, you say safe space and whatever you tell me right here is straight. Yes, you may have natural consequences, like, I'm gonna help you, work through it, but I'm not gonna punish you for anything you tell me here. And you start
right.
from amongst them. By the time they get older, it's like you can come to me, say safe space, and I'm not gonna yell at you. I'm not gonna. If someone was like, "That's so hard because it's your child," and they tell me I don't have kids, I'm not understand I don't have kids. So at that point, you can, when you do safe space for yourself, mentally tell yourself that you are not talking to your child. Talk to them as if you're talking to
An
a student
adult,
or a friend's child,
right?
or you're not
Whatever.
gonna talk to an adult. They're still a kid, but it's
But
like
I mean,
to your friend's child, another kid,
mm-mm,
differently, own child. Like when it's your own
yeah,
child, you're always talking to you, Mom, I'm having sex. Please, what? What? Versus their friend who's like, Miss, can I think I'm having sex? Oh, can you want to talk about it? Because I don't know
yeah.
why. your child, you're not automatically going to go ham on that.
Yeah, you may your child comes to you and be like, so you ready for a baby? So you're ready to have kids? Do you have a job? Do you pay any bills? Do you drive? Like,
Yeah, so I was explaining to her, I was just like, just it's gonna take a lot of training on your part. That's why I say both of y'all started from mad young and work up to it so that when you get to those places, it's like you're already used, like even as because kids they don't have obviously it's not gonna be sexual, hopefully. It's some kids hopefully not. But it'll be like, oh mommy, I broke my toy. And they told you in a safe place because they know it was an expensive toy like a tablet.
right.
So okay, you broke it. So we don't have the money for it, but we can figure out what we're gonna do to fix your tablet. Like, what do you think you can do to fix it? And it's safe. You're not gonna punish them because they told you it
In that
in the
space. Right.
but I did say this, trust and believe. If I find out about it and we're not in safe space, trust and believe, that's a whole nother story, okay? Let me find out you broke this tablet. You better hope you say safe space and we do safe space before I find out. You better call me.
Move
Outside of safe space is a whole nother story, okay? Now you getting punished.
Right, because you didn't say it. You didn't feel open enough to tell me about it. So
Yeah.
that does actually, Eve, that does actually give it. My cat is on my computer. Say hi, this is Eve.
Hi.
So that does actually give that initial comfortability to basically talk to you, or as a parent, talk to parents about uncomfortable situations, that things may be, something that they don't want to talk about, or things that may cause consequences in the future, So
Yeah.
I like the idea. I
Yeah,
like
like a
the
lot
idea.
of and the reason why we end up on this topic, even though we're supposed to be talking about sex, but somehow we've got sex and kids, is just because I do a lot of studies with sex and child development, obviously, and sex in society. So that's where that whole conversation we just had came.
Just in case y'all was trying to figure out the ways of what's going on, we just reeled it back in for y'all.
When it comes to sex, it's not just the fun aspects of it. It's so much deeper than that. It's like how you
Right.
talk to your kids, how you do a million and one things. But when it comes to sex and kids, it's like it's people are so afraid to talk to their kids about like what do I do, what do I do? But it's the same as talking about anything. For example, consent. You teach them consent from when they're young, tickling them. Stop, stop. Okay, do you want me to stop? I will stop. If it does not feel good no more, I can stop.
Right.
When you want me to continue, I'll continue. But a lot of parents, because it's fun, you just keep tickling them and tickling them, but now that's not teaching them consent.
That's
If you
not right.
okay, child comes and just opens the bathroom door. Hey, I did not give you permission to come
To
inside.
open the door. Mm-hmm.
And you have to ask before you come inside while someone else is in here. So they practice consent. You can't just walk in on people. Same way when it's time for having sex and it's time to have that conversation, they already know about consent. They already understand it. You
Right.
don't go to someone else's house and just use their Xbox. They may have let you play their Xbox last week when you went over. Just because you went over this week don't mean you can play their Xbox. You have to ask.
Facts. Hello.
Sex, same
Never
thing.
assume. Never
A girl
assume.
may you have sex and then the next day it's like I'm not in, I don't want it, and it's okay.
Right. And that's okay. Doesn't mean she's upset. That just means okay. That was yesterday. This is today's new day. Now we need
But
some
all
mental
kids get
stimulation.
taught young. They all
Mm,
get taught from childhood. So like sex education starts from childhood without people knowing that starting from childhood.
right. And the things you do in life will also affect you in every other aspect of life too. The what you were taught in life also does affect the decisions you make and how you see the world and your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes a big difference too.
But
Honestly,
do you
talking, huh? I was just gonna say, talking about the power of the pussy book, she actually goes into different stages of her life. Like she goes from how she thought about it as a childhood to her teenage to how she thinks like as an adult now, where she's like, I know how to work my JJ to get me what I need, to get me what I want, to have what I need in my life. But she
yeah,
had
I
to go
enjoyed the book. I
through.
have some differing opinions, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm still reading it. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't gotten that far, but I did skim pass through just in case you were like kind of further than me. So I had some kind of a understanding of synopsis. But yeah, no, definitely.
We'll have to talk
So
about the book.
definitely some things in that book I did not agree with. What are some of the things that rubbed you the wrong way?
And let's not do that right now because you ain't finished it, and I don't. Well, that is
Did
just
you
say
finish it?
I actually finished it today.
Oh, I gotta do better. Listen,
Oh
I'm
no,
getting it.
I had it longer than you though. I had started it before you.
Okay, next conversation.
And I had an audiobook, so I had to do a drive today. So I was
Oh,
listening.
so yeah, they offered me to do audio. I think you get like 3 days or 6 days or something like that for free.
I
Um,
love Audible. That's my favorite
yeah,
thing.
you could just listen to it and go. I was thinking about it, but I don't know. I told myself I was gonna actually read, but I'm thinking I need to go ahead and do that because it, excuse me, will make it go by quicker.
The only reason why I like audiobooks is just because my job has me driving a lot. So I would, well, before COVID, so I haven't really used it as much except for like the past couple of days I've been driving. It's more so when I'm driving. I prefer the physical book, if anything.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, have you ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I had the opportunity to read it. I didn't. Instead, I read Who Moved My Cheese.
Oh my gosh. You have to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I haven't finished the
What's
book
topic
yet.
though? We off topic. We off topic.
Just put it out there. You gotta get to put something to look forward to. But yeah, we gotta read, you
Wait,
gotta read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Huh?
so how about we do because we've been talking all seriously about sex and stuff. Let's do a
Okay.
sex convo before we end and stuff today.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about? You, because I kind of started the conversation. I'll give my floor to you. You go ahead. Let's have some
Okay.
fun. What about it?
But I don't know your boundaries.
Okay. Just I can clip out something. If it's
So
past my
let's do.
boundaries, I can edit it.
Well, how about that? Boundaries is already always fun for me. This one therapist, the one that I told y'all about, Lindsay Doe, again, her YouTube is Sexplanations. She has this thing where she says everyone should have a want, a will, won't, and maybe list. Something like
Okay.
where it's like, and in each column, put 30 things you will do, 30 things you will not do, and 30 things you're open to doing. And yes, you can have 30 different items in each column and still have enough sex.
But like 30 different things for sex?
There, because the thing is,
What
it
is
depends.
what can I that's a lot of what,
For example,
bring me
will.
into your world.
Okay, so for example, simple when it comes to toys. Are you for toys and against toys? And then when you go
Hmm.
so many different kinds, you have vibrators, you have dildos,
Oh, you good. Okay.
you have
Let's
nip.
spice it up.
Yeah, they board games. I love board games are so much
I'll
fun.
do board games all day, every day.
You see, so that would be on the will. And then
I like board games. I like games. I like food.
to
Okay.
I'm not really into food play. I'm into like that's called food play, but I love board games and stuff like that. So like striptease.
That give
We
me some
like
caramel, some strawberries, some chocolate, whipped cream, honey, syrup, chicken.
wait, but with that, so with food play, you have all the different kinds of foods, and then you have where are you okay with the food going? Food on the chest, food on the pelvic bone, food on the neck, food on the face. Are you okay with me putting some whipped cream on your shoulders and licking it off? That's
Oh,
like a
I get now. Okay, now I get the breakdown of 30. At first, I was like, "What? How?" I get it now. Okay, okay.
the reason why it's
I
so
need to
specific.
do this, guys. To-do list. Create you a list of your do's, your do nots, and your maybes. Spice up your life a little bit.
The reason why it's so specific is because there's so many different things that, and just the slightest change may be something you're not comfortable with.
Hmm.
For example, someone may be okay with anal toys, as in like anal beads,
Hmm.
that that are silicone, but they're not okay with glass anal beads or
Right.
they're like a butt plug. So it's
Yeah.
like specific. Or you said you like food. Sure, if I was to say I like food, it would have to be like frosting for cake because I'm
I
allergic
like
to.
that. Yeah.
If I was put down, of course I'd say I'm not into food play like that. But on my will list is I can have buttercream frosting, some chocolate frosting, vanilla frosting. On my will not ever list is I don't have cheese frosting.
Right.
Like I can't. Baby is fruit because I'm allergic to fruit, so we gotta see how that goes.
No fruits. Oh man, no pineapple, mango. Oh man, yes, allergic.
You have
I have an
axe.
allergy for fruits. Have you ever used a butt plug? Like, does it really? It makes you think of like how you put a plug in for your bathtub. I swear, is what I think about. What am I plugging my butt for? What am I putting that in my butt for? Like, I
I've
don't
never
get it.
used, well, it's for the sensation, but I've never used a butt plug. I have used anal beads though, and it's the ones that go from small and it increase in size and basically just go into whatever size you're ready. So those are like beginner anal beads. So
So
that's the
aren't
most.
those made to try to open up your hole so when you actually do it, it doesn't really hurt as much?
I mean, it's up to you. You don't have to take it that far. You could just like the anal beads themselves, because again, it's a whole
Oh,
thing. And the thing is, like, don't really knock something until you
so
try
you
it. Like,
try it. That's a fact.
the reason specifically,
Three? I don't know about that. I don't know
listen,
about that. I don't know about that.
the first time you don't know what you're doing, so
Okay.
that's the clunker. So that's already an accident. The second
Okay.
time, most likely you or your partner is most likely might be nervous because the first time was so jacked up. So the third time, you're probably gonna be most comfortable trying it out, like y'all figured it out. Okay,
Facts.
it works. Okay, don't go too far. So you can actually relax and actually see, do I like this activity?
Okay. I'm- don't try something. Don't knock it until you try it 3 times. I'll take that. I'll take that. But let me tell you, for me, uh-uh.
Things you gonna know off of. Some things you know off of.
No, some things I'm like, once something don't work out the first time, I'm like, okay, come back in a month. We're not doing this. Come back in a month. Try this again in a month. Try this again in a month. But yeah, man.
So toys, food, there's temperature play. So that's using ice, using body, like the body wax, the safe wax,
Yeah.
some play, but those are usually like professionals. I can tell you some of my favorite like sexology Instagrammers and social media people.
Okay.
Yeah, so one of
So
my favorites for African American women is Afro Sexology on Instagram.
okay.
Have a lot of great information when it comes to like sexuality and in being African American and intersexuality. And they do a lot of different fun classes and workshops. And they have a workbook about finding your inner, like to give yourself an orgasm and stuff like that. Then I already said sexplanations like a million times. For people with kids, there's an Instagram page, sex positive underscore families. They're pretty good. They have a lot of great information when it comes to like talking to you with about sex with your kids and when they're showing curiosity and stuff like that.
Right.
There's Sex with Olivia. She is a new sex
I
therapist who
I came across her.
I like her. I know her through Nadine Thornhill, which is my sex educator, who you should also check her page out. And there's a million more. There's like a million more, literally. I follow like a whole bunch of them.
Do you have a
It's,
list written or are you just looking on your Instagram?
I have a list written somewhere, but right now it's look on my Instagram because I'm not.
Oh, so the good thing about Instagram is that once you start looking things up, other things that are kind of similar will pop up and like your For You or your Follow You page and all that stuff. So I always find it interesting when I find random things that just kind of resonates with me very well. And I just feel like because we have this conversation, once I go on my Instagram and type in a couple of those people, I'm gonna be seeing all these like random things pop up and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I will tell you, they say you want to be happy in life, have a good sex life, right? So
Listen, that is, like people really trying to hide your sex life, but it's like we are whole humans, and a part of our humanity is sex, and they try to steal that from women, and like they trying to control that. And it's like that's a natural thing. That's what evolution wants.
yeah,
Whoever to produce and continue making more. That's a natural inclination for creatures.
yeah.
Now, also smart, so we make sure that we are being conscious and consensual with people.
Mhm.
But it's natural to want sex. I don't know why people be tripping over it.
Let me ask you a question, and this is going to be the last question before we go ahead and end this today's Zoom. Um, what's your opinion on different sex drives? Like, not it doesn't. We're not saying it's gender specific. but just sex drives in general. Sometimes a male relationship may have a higher sex drive than a female. Sometimes a female may have a higher sex drive than the male. So what is your outlook on that? And how do you think you can make it work a little bit better?
That's a communications issue, because everyone has different sex drives, and not only that, but your sex drive can change during different times of your life. For women, I can speak mostly for women because I'm a woman. It's like when you're on birth control, it changes your sex drive. When you're pregnant, your sex drive changes. When you're on your period, man, you wake up and your sex drive changes, okay? And I'm pretty sure it does for men. I'm not sure. I'm not a man. I'm gonna have to ask. But so it just is always changing, and that's where communication comes, and being open-minded. For example, again, I'm a girl, I know that if I'm not in the mood, but he wants some and I want to be conscientious of my partner, then there's different things you can do. Sure, you can give him a flashlight, you can give him a hand, you can look up different things, you can give him some phone sex, whatever, without you having to do too much. Or you could just say, you're interested. Or maybe if it really is that huge of a difference, y'all need to look into open type of relationships. Kind of some people have an open relationship like that where the person has one sexual partner just for that reason, because they know that I don't want to do it. Sure. Like subconsciously thinking, when I was in high school, I kind of had that mindset without knowing I had that mindset. Like all my exes, I used to tell them like they all cheated on me. I was pissed. I'm like, if you had told me you just want to be with someone, I probably would have said yes, because I already knew that I'm not going to give it to you. So I actually wouldn't have had a problem with that. I was just pissed with the lack of communication.
Right, the lies and the going behind your back and stuff.
People,
But when you go into that type of relationship, when it comes into that, do you feel like that may bring it in after a while, maybe some animosity or a lack of trust, or maybe feelings for that other person more than you in the future? I mean, because they are having sex, and sex can become something that is very mentally stimulating, emotionally stimulating, and change things.
yeah, I think it depends on the individuals. And I think that, again, with those kind of relationships, especially, so much more communication comes into play. For example, if we were to have it where you can have sexual, I'd be like, you have to let me know if you feel like your feelings are changing. And then, you know what, being mature enough to accept if someone's feeling changes, because first of all, our feelings change all the time. Your brain doesn't develop till you're 25 anyway, so you don't even know who you are yet. And even though they say your brain develops at 25 because of society and everything, we don't really know who we are. So we don't know what we need, and our needs are always going to change. So being able to accept that if I'm going into this, there's a chance that you might want to leave, or you want to actually be with that person. And I have to be mature enough to accept that. And I don't understand it. So if I'm gonna let you do it, just yeah, you okay with me doing it? Don't ask for something that you're not okay with me doing.
There you go. That's
I'm not.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't, hey, what you do, I do. Understand that. We can do this together. Don't be trying to sit there and be one-sided.
I'm not going to force myself to, but just know I can.
Right.
Watch yourself.
That's it. Period. And that's on period. So yes, guys. That was a good little hour conversation about a couple of different topics. I told you guys we're gonna just go through some things. I appreciate you guys who stuck it out to the end and actually watch this entire video that I just posted. Me and Lucy will definitely, as long as she's open to it, we'll definitely do another Zoom call recording and find some topics from you guys, and we will maybe come up with some ideas. And I don't know if because again, I started with girl talk, so I don't know if you guys want to stick on those kind of topics. We can talk about hygiene, we can talk about relationships, monogamy, polygamy, cheating, not cheating, just topics, y'all. Girl talks topics, whatever y'all want to discuss. If y'all have any ideas, leave them down in the description box or the comment section down below. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. And do you have anything else to say? Do you want to tell them to follow you?
Follow me on Instagram I have two of them, at Lucenda, LucendaLH, or at Laukisha123, Laukisha 123. I'm also on Twitter under Sweetness539. I gotta change that. And Facebook, Lucy Honore.
See, so there you go, guys. Thank you, Lucy, for doing this. I had fun. This was a really, honestly, you got me thinking. I'm gonna do that list, sis. I'm gonna do that list. I like that. The things I will do and not do in the maybe. That's a really good idea. I never even thought about that.
For people who non-relationships, it's a great conversation starter.
Exactly. There you go, guys. So with that being said, I will see you guys on my next video. Make sure you check out all my videos that I have already posted on my channel. And do not forget to hit that notification bell for more videos like this you don't want to miss. So with that being said, guys, per usual, have a wonderful rest of your night. I'll see you guys later. Peace, love, and blessings. Bye, guys.